such a category that has been untouched for so long, and airports don't carry underwear. Like, why is this a thing? And we were joking, we were saying we were panicking and needed panties. And at first it was like just a joke, and then we were like, wait, this is actually something. So we got started the next day. We just jumped right in, had no idea what we were doing. But yeah, and we just have been going ever since. My name's Marino, and I'm one of the 3 female co-founders of Panic Panties. We're the first line of premium ready-to-wear underwear that are sold in convenient places. So we're really changing the way women can shop for quality underwear by getting a premium, gorgeous pair that's pre-washed and ready to wear at your local CVS. I grew up in New Jersey, then I went to Syracuse for college, which is where I met my 2 best friends and co-founders. We were all in Tri-Delt together, and then lived in Manhattan for a few years after that. I was in the magazine industry. So was the children's health editor at Parents Magazine at like 23, 24 years
Gosh,
old.
that's amazing.
Yeah, it was really cool. And at that point in my life, I created a cardio kickboxing company with Alex, who's one of our co-founders. And we just ran that outside of our full-time jobs because we were so passionate about the fitness industry and we really loved the class that we created. So that was kind of our first like dipping our toe into like the world of being an entrepreneur and balancing it with a full-time job. So had that for a few years and then moved to Chicago, worked in advertising there as a copywriter, and then came out to San Diego and have bounced around in digital marketing for a bit before doing Panic Panties full time.
Awesome. What brought you to San Diego?
Honestly, just the lifestyle. I've always wanted to live in California. Even I tell this story, but my first boyfriend broke up with me in like 8th grade, and I was like, that's fine. I'm moving to California anyway. So it was always, I never had a plan to actually like how to get here, but I just knew in my soul that I was meant to be here. So
Well, you migrated, right? You started on the East
yeah,
Coast, you did a pit stop in Chicago and kept going.
yep, exactly. And now I hope I'm here to stay. I love San Diego so much.
Yes, absolutely. It's a gorgeous place. I feel the same. Let's go to the impetus, the beginning, the idea. You have 2 co-founders. Who's the first person that came up with the idea? Did you all come up with it together?
Yeah, we actually did all come up with it together. So I was visiting New York. It was after I had moved to Chicago. And so we were all going out to dinner that night. And earlier that day, Alex had taken a gym class and before work. So she went to her gym class, she was getting ready and she realized that she forgot a pair of underwear to change into. So it's like 8 o'clock in the morning in New York City. She's running around to all of like the drugstores nearby and none of them had something she actually wanted to wear. It was all of like the Hanes and for the Loom granny panties, works for some people, but not for us. And none of them were pre-washed. So you really don't want to be putting something on your body before you've washed it at home. So she was just kind of commiserating about it over dinner and telling us her story. And then we were all like, oh yeah, we've had that time, like where we got our period in the middle of the day or traveling or laundry in the city is a nightmare. So sometimes you just run out. And we just were like, this is such a category that has been untouched for so long, and airports don't carry underwear. Like, why is this a thing? And we were joking, we were saying we were panicking and needed panties. And at first it was like just a joke. And then we were like, wait, this is actually something. So we got started the next day. We just jumped right in, had no idea what we were doing. But yeah, and we just have been going ever since.
So you came up with the concept close to 6 years ago, is that right?
Yeah, we came up with the idea in, I think it was 2018,
Okay.
but it took, that was just like that when that first day happened. And then we were trying to figure out, well, how do you create a pair of underwear? Like we had no idea. So then we, created like tech packs and we were running around New York looking for fabric options and then looking for factories and connections. So all of that took a while. And then we got our first like small batch of inventory in 2019. From a factory overseas. And we did at that time, like our packaging, we couldn't even meet the minimums for packaging. Usually you need like a few thousand units. So we were printing our branding on a sticker and hand stickering all of our packaging, like in Alex's little New York apartment. And those days are like, they're just cool to look back on. And then in January 2020, we launched with our first sizable order of inventory. which is really good timing for a convenience product. It was like we got our product, world shut down. Um,
Oh,
but it's okay because we took that time to learn about retail. Alex has a business background. She was a CPA. She's a CPA. Katherine Anne was in branded content and TV and talent. And then I, have my writing background. So we had no idea how you get a product into retail. So we hired a consultant, somebody local in San Diego. His name is Tom Lonsway. He's incredible. And he taught us. So we really used COVID to learn and to get everything ready so that when the stores did start opening back up and we could actually have meetings with buyers, we'd be ready for it.
amazing. So let's get into the side of manufacturing. I've got quite a few Hera Hub members that manufacture a product, and I know how hard it can be. That first big order you got in January 2020, where was that from?
That one was from China. And we really just had that one shipment of inventory. It wasn't that much. For us, it felt like a lot because it was like, I think it was like 8,000 units. But we just worked with them that one time. And then our agent kind of was leaving, like the connection, it just kind of fell apart. And the quality was good, but we wanted it to be better. So we found this was, oh my gosh, it's such like a puzzle. Like, I don't even know how these connections happen. Sometimes I swear it's just like putting it out there into the universe, and I don't know, I'm grateful. We found an old colleague of my mom's he worked with a factory in the Dominican. And the fabric was made in the US, which was fantastic. And then they shipped it to the Dominican, and that's where they would actually assemble the panties. So we worked with them for a number of years. And the quality of the fabric was beautiful, but the consistency of the sewing was really tough for us. And they would accidentally pack a small medium in a large extra large packaging. And it was so hard. It's just every factory is so different and has its own unique challenges. And it was during COVID, and we were flying back and forth to the Dominican to sort through our inventory ourselves because there were so many mistakes and things that we had to fix. And then I remember quarantining for 10 days before Christmas, before I could see my family. I was it was wild, but we're grateful for every factory because it got us through that point in the business. It got us to, reach a certain level, and then it was time for something new. So our current factory is in Cambodia. It's an incredible factory. They have all their certifications. They're Ocotec certified, which means they're free of toxins and chemicals. We are the smallest brand they work with. And that was through an old college friend of mine that I just connected with. And at the end of our call, I was joking. He was like, let me know if I can do anything to help. And I was like, well, if you know an underwear factory. And he was like, actually, I might. It was crazy.
Crazy.
So, yeah. So we're with them, and hopefully we'll be with them for a long time. And as we grow, I know we'll probably need to add a couple extra to make sure that we can handle all production if we meet the goals that we're looking to. So yeah.
That's amazing. So in total, how many factories have you worked with over the course of the progression?
Three.
Three. Okay.
Plus a small sample room in New York. We were
Mhm.
doing our first proof of concept. And so that was just we were just making them locally in New York. And it was actually, we were selling them for $8 at that point, and it cost $8 to make them. So
Oh,
it was just but
yeah.
it was just enough to get us
Yeah.
to make sure
Proof of
that,
concept. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's amazing. That's awesome. Talk about your partnerships with these two women. It sounds like you all have known each other a very long time.
Yeah.
What are some of the ups and downs, recommendations, if you have an opportunity to share your wisdom with others? What do you talk about as it relates to your partners?
Yeah, we're a very unique situation because we are literally as close as you can get as friends. We're sisters pretty much, and we've been really close for many, many, many years. So there's challenges in that because there's no separation. We're constantly talking, whether it's about personal stuff or work stuff. And we've honestly had some really big life events happen over the course, even this last year, where we need to know when to pause the business. This is totally, we just need to be there for each other on a personal level. So finding those kinds of boundaries and how to balance, it's an art, and it's hard, and we're always trying to get better at it. I think we just love each other so much and respect each other so much that at the end of the day, we try to just communicate and work through whatever the issue is, and just know that like our friendship comes first, and it has to this day. Um, Alex and I work very closely together on a lot of like sales and like our bigger like retail kind of strategy and partnerships, and we work very, very differently. I'm like a perfectionist, nitpicky, can spend forever on one thing. And I want to say yes to everything. Alex is very like conservative. Let's keep moving. Okay, we made a decision. She's like totally opposite. So there was a point where we were really like having a hard time with our working styles working together. And we hired a coach who brought us through like a 3-month program on like understanding like, this is how she works. This is how you work. These are your styles. This is how you should best communicate with each other. And I swear it changed everything. And if anybody needs a referral, I'm happy to share. Her name's Jackie. But I don't remember the name of the consulting company, but I can share it. It changed everything for us. Now I understand how to bring something to Alex when I have an idea. And the other interesting thing is we're long distance. So I'm in San Diego, she's in New York, and Katherine Anne is in Venice in LA. So really like taking the time we have weekly meetings. Alex and I have 2 weekly meetings a week, and then Katherine Anne and I and Alex, the 3 of us have one. So really like keeping up with each other and communicating that way has been helpful.
Is everyone full-time focused on the business?
Alex and I are full-time. Katherine Anne is, I think she would say probably more part-time. She's also an incredible writer and is working towards becoming a screenwriter. So she has, which is so cool to watch. And she's like, she's gonna have a show like on Netflix. Like we know it. So so she's involved for sure. Like sometimes some weeks it's like full-time, other weeks it's part-time. So it just kind of ebbs and flows a little bit more.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Have you raised money for the business?
We did a Kickstarter for
Okay.
$20,000. That was when we launched our essentials line. And our essentials, basically, I can just explain. This is our originals line that we launched with. It's like super discreet packaging. The whole idea is that you don't really know it's underwear. You could stash it in your purse, your car, your desk. However, going into retail, the consumer has like 0.3 seconds to make a decision. So we created our essentials line to complement this, which is a slightly lower price point. I mean, they're equal in terms of quality. It's just different preferences and styles, with a little bit more obvious branding. And this is what we launched at CVS, Walgreens, airport stores, and different retailers across the country. And this one as well, but this tends to be a little bit more like boutique, premium, so there's different use cases. But when we launched essentials, creating a whole other line, whole other branding and packaging, we needed some extra money. So we did the Kickstarter, which was great. And besides that, we've just managed to self-fund with like a friends and family loan that we took. But I still freelance outside of Panic Panties. I work more than full-time on Panic Panties, but I still do special projects for some other brands to keep going. And it's definitely challenging, but it's also super rewarding to know that we don't have investors breathing down our necks yet. And we want to take this as far as we can on our own.
Like, that's amazing. Congratulations on that, because it's
Yeah.
hard to get as far as you've gotten
Oh my
without
God.
taking money. I mean, significant amounts of money. So
Yeah.
fantastic. Okay, so talk to us about the story of getting some of these big box brands. I mean, that is really difficult to do. So how did that come about, and who was first, or did it all happen at the same time?
So the first account we got was GoPuff, and that's a convenience store delivery app. It's have you heard of it before? Okay, so I think it's bigger on the East Coast. It's not so much in like Southern California, but basically it's like a CVS, a Walgreens, and they have their own warehouses, and they deliver within like 30 minutes, kind of like a DoorDash. So we got on GoPuff actually during the pandemic, and we did super well on it. And thank God, like that helped us through a big portion of the pandemic. We're still on there. That was our first retailer. Then came Chibo Express airport stores, which was so cool because the airport is such a huge market for us. And honestly, the amount of women that have told us that they've had to wash their underwear in an airport sink is crazy. Like airports, Hudson News. If anybody knows anybody at Hudson News, that is like such an ask for us. Like they need to carry Panic Panties. It's just so silly that they don't. It's a wellness
Yeah.
essential for women. So the airport business was really awesome. And that was just from us reaching out, just constantly reaching out to the buyer. And then let's see, Walgreens was next. We have a team of brokers. So our brokers are basically they take commission. So they're not like employees. They don't have a retainer or anything like that. They're just commission based. And we found an incredible team of brokers that have been representing us. And so that team of brokers made the connection at Walgreens or like worked with Walgreens. We pitched to them and got into 75 to 150 stores. It fluctuates. And that's been great business since. And then we got into CVS, which is our biggest account yet. We launched in 5,000 stores 2 months ago. And this was a really interesting journey because we joined WeBank. It's called the Women's Business Enterprise Council. Any women-owned business, please look into it. It is game changing, especially if you get involved. Like it's nice to get certified, you get the logo and your packaging, and we know that consumers are willing to pay a premium for women-owned products, so that helps. But the community and the connections are just like there's nothing like it. And so we got into WeBank, and then we just joined one of their pitch competitions one year, and we had no idea how to pitch. And I'm super introverted, like that's my nightmare. Please don't put me on stage. And somehow I got thrown into doing this, and we made it to the first round. And we're like, okay, and it was all virtual. And then the second round, virtual, third round, virtual. And then it was like the fourth round was in Washington, D.C. on a stage in front of like 400 people. So we went and we actually came in second, which was really, really cool. But the more important thing was at that conference, we were like grabbing some food and Alex sat down, and it just happened to be right next to the CBS supplier diversity team. And their job is to help get minority owned businesses on shelf at these stores, help with like some costing, just like help, get them a leg up. And so we headed off with them. They are the most wonderful people. They got us a meeting with a buyer. We sent her samples, and by the time we met with her, she was already wearing them and was like, I love them. It was the coolest thing. And it's just, that was like over a year ago. That was I would say like last July.
Mhm.
Um, and we had no idea what was going to come of it. We knew that the meeting went well. And then we found out we got 3,500 stores, which was nuts. And then in April, oh no, it wasn't April. I think it was like February. They were like, actually, could you handle 5,000 stores? And so we had to like ramp up production again and make sure that
Mm.
we had enough inventory to get to do it. But I think it's very unique and unusual for a new brand. There's ups and downs of it. It's great because it's more stores. It's hard because it's a lot of pressure to sell through. You need a much higher marketing budget when you're trying to reach that many locations. So we're small and we're scrappy, and we're trying to do what we can in unique ways to spread the word more organically. In addition to like some ads and traditional things that, of course, social media, we have a viral video right now that's at 3.1 million. And I'm like, thank you. It's
That's
like
amazing.
free advertising. But we also have a giant Panic Panties costume that we had made for our launch at Walgreens.
Awesome.
So we'll like go out and wear it around the stores, or like I might honestly wear it down the boardwalk in San Diego because we're trying to like get the word out about
Yeah,
Mission Beach and PB.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, that's been our journey so far. Retail's tough. But one day at a time.
Absolutely. Yes. You have to go to Comic-Con with that.
I know. Seriously, when is that? That would be great. I'll just stand outside and wave at everyone.
Totally. Totally. That's awesome. I love that. So creative. So wow, amazing progress over the last year. Money, cash flow. Like, are you at a point where you are looking for investors?
We're open to
Okay.
conversations for the
Sure.
right person.
Yeah.
I'm also involved in the startup San Diego community, and we found like really amazing advisors, and women that we have kind of on our team. And one is an angel investor, and she's helping us like decide whether we should look at debt funding or, equity, or like kind of what that looks like. And we're just doing our best to like educate ourselves to see. But I really think it's going to be dependent on the person and the opportunity. I would say we're open to talking to anyone. We just want somebody that is as passionate about this opportunity as we are. And it's a huge one. Like this category is so untouched. There's just like these antiquated underwear in all these places. Like there's something better and that is, available to us. We actually had somebody reach out too saying she's a nurse at a hospital, and she was like, I don't do a lot of philanthropic stuff, but I want to buy these for my patients because all the time they need to leave with new underwear, and we either give them like diapers or the mesh underwear or something. And she was like, it's horrible. It's a horrible feeling. And so even going, the hospital route outside of retail, but just like kind of government or like big kind of like hospital systems could be an opportunity for us. So there's so much. But yeah, if the right person comes along, I think we're definitely open to a conversation.
Yeah. Allow you to scale more quickly, potentially.
Yeah, that's what's going to be helpful. And we're looking at like all of our options currently too, because we want to grow the direct to consumer side of the business. That's kind of been untouched, which is unique because a lot of brands start D2C and then they go into retail. We were like, we need D2C. Like we just need to be sold when and where women need us most. We're like, okay, that's hilarious to think that looking back. And like we've made our website by ourselves. We've done all of that on our own and manage our social media. But we know that in order to, whenever we see, and we don't run ads really other than our geo-targeted ads for retailers. So we know whenever we have like a viral moment, it explodes and goes crazy. So we know that like if we have the right team in place to do our digital marketing campaigns and all of that, that there's a ton of opportunity there too. So yeah, that's what the money would probably go to at this point, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Have you been knocked off yet?
Oh my gosh, yes. This is a very sensitive subject right now because we've been knocked off a few times. And you know what? It's flattery, and it's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
rising tides raise all ships, right? Like
yeah, yeah,
creativeness is
yeah.
a trend and a category, and so we appreciate that. But what we don't appreciate is when somebody literally knocks off the exact look and feel. We actually have a competitor that rebranded to look exactly like this.
Wow.
And it's to the point where there could be confusion on shelf. Like it's really hard to tell the difference. Even in the name, they changed their name to be like ours. So
Mm.
there's we're figuring out how to handle those in the best situation, in the best way. But yeah, I think it's flattery. It's like, you're doing something right when other people want to follow in your steps. So trying to keep a positive attitude about it and just realize like it's just part of the journey.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
Mhm.
what's next, Maria?
What's next? I think what's next is really that direct to consumer side of the business. Um, I'm actively doing interviewing for different freelance positions and people that we want to work with and strategists. So I'm really excited to have a team around us to help us scale, especially something that like retail we're really comfortable in. This kind of feels like a little daunting. So having the right people in place that can help us do that, I'm super excited about. And then we are hoping to continue to grow with CVS. So
Yeah.
hopefully more product offerings to come, but I think right now we're just laser focused on marketing, getting the word out about CVS. We're sold in the fashion accessories and the hair accessory set. So it's
Mhm.
not by the underwear. This is where like the like it's a little bit, it's like the fashion tape and the hair ties and like the kind of like your fashion, what aside from the underwear where you go for them. So I think there's a little bit of education there too. When a consumer is looking for us in store, we're maybe not where you would look for us, like just, instinctually, but we're in this other category and that's where you can find us and that's where we're going to grow. So just getting the word out, I think, and impressing our buyer, making our supplier diversity team proud. They took such a chance on us. And so, yeah.
So fun getting to know you and hearing your amazing story.
Thank you. Thank you.